I gotta talk to the guy Ray.
Hey, what's up? How you doing? I saw your video. I'm gonna make a video reply. For everybody who's watching, I usually I'm in my bed right now because I don't feel like getting up. Usually, I will take an entire video and I'll answer every question, and I can literally take a 6 minute video into like a whole hour. I'm not gonna do that. I'm too tired. For those who haven't seen my last video, I basically was showing. I forgot the guy's name, Charlie Kip. Some passport bro got removed from Colombia, and a lot of Colombians are celebrating. So he made me a reaction video. I do have to warn you guys that he has his language is very vulgar. So for those who have anybody under the age of 18 close by, please, maybe put on some headphones, some earphones. If you don't like hearing, that type of language, just you may want to watch some of my other videos. I'm not going to respond to every single thing because I'm too tired right now. I'll look at it. I'm going to take like the most important questions, and then I will respond to it the best that I can.
I'm sorry, I forgot his name. Ray Condores. And hey, big respect on you. You entitled to rep your country and speak up for your country. But
I will give him the respect where it is due, that he is recognizing that us Colombians, not just me, my people are very not happy about a lot of things that are happening in Colombia by some unwanted foreigners. Not all, but some unwanted foreigners. Granted, his way of speaking sounds a little bit rough, so I will try to be respectful. But remember, people, I give the same energy I receive to others. I don't think he has any malice. So let me see what he says.
that don't make sense to me. It just doesn't add up. Now, I understand Medellin, Colombia, cracking down on guys that have, pedophiles, guys that have charged, that's on the angel watch list. I can respect all that.
I'm liking what he says. We're doing good so far.
Right? I agree with that 100%. I could even respect Colombia, Medellin, going in on the guys that post videos with showing naked women that's selling box all day. I could understand that. But now where it gets me is when you say grown women who are not being held against their will, grown women who decided to make choices in life to sell pussy, right? And if a tourist go over there and pay to fuck a prostitute, that's sex tourism.
Okay, well, let's look at the definition. It says here, sex tourism is the act of traveling to foreign countries, often in the global south, specifically to engage in commercial sex activities or relationships. It involves utilizing tourism networks. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Sometimes organized by travel agencies to access sex workers with the common destinations, including parts of Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the Caribbean. So yeah, that's what it literally is. That's what it literally is. That's the definition.
Or that sexual exploitation. That's where I don't understand it.
It says here the definition of sexual exploitation is a form of sexual abuse that occurs when a person takes a non-consensual or abusive advantage of another person for their own benefit or the benefit of a third party rather than for the victim's benefit. It involves using a position of power, trust, vulnerability to coerce, force, to manipulate someone in engaging sexual acts, often in exchange for money, food, shelter, or other goods. Key characteristics of this type of exploitation include the presence of an exchange of unequal power dynamic, which means that the victim is unable to truly consent. So, what is the difference between a legalized form of work of adult services versus something that is considered exploitation? For example, when a person flies down to Colombia or maybe, like, say, Brazil, and they don't want to pay the women after she gave you the services, and you laugh in their face, telling them that there'll always be a four-letter word, a WHORE, and that you're not going to pay her, that's actually abuse and exploitation. Forcing her to do certain acts which she didn't agree with in the first place, such as doing different types of positions, demeaning things, things that are considered fetishes, for the fact that, hey, if you don't do this, then I'm not going to pay you extra, or I'm not going to pay you what I told you, and your children can go hungry, and laugh in the face about it. Yeah, that's considered abuse, because that has happened. Okay, and I did see this happen a few times in Colombia and also in Brazil. As a passport bro, he didn't want to pay the reais to the woman, and he called her that, and she was saying that she needed to for her children. And the person whom I saw was actually interviewed by Austin Holloman, so that is a form of abuse. There have been cases like that in Cartagena and Medellin. Okay. I'm not going to get mad at you since you cannot pronounce Medellin properly, but it's Medellin. Okay. And so, yeah, this happens quite a lot. So we're not mad at the fact that it exists. We're mad at the fact that there's certain abuses by certain people. And you even said it yourself. You say you don't agree with men touching little kids. That is abuse. Why? Because that's a power dynamic. Those children are being forced. And some people say, oh, well, 12, 13-year-old girls, they freely went and did it. No, it is a power dynamic. They're under the age of consent. They cannot be doing that. It is the law that you cannot do that. Also, I would like to remind you that it is also legal in Germany, but I don't see you guys going over to Germany to do all the strange things that you're doing in Colombia. It is legal in Nevada, and I don't see you guys doing that over there. Also, I would like to remind people, for everybody who's watching, the United States still can prosecute you because what is still legal in Colombia is not legal in the United States. And the United States has the legal power to arrest and prosecute people who travel to other countries for adult services work, even if it is considered legal, even if they are over the age of consent. All right. So I don't understand why people are getting mad about that. So even though you may be going to another country where adult services is legal, the United States, under certain circumstances, they can still prosecute you. They just not don't push on it. I mean, the laws have changed a little bit over the past few years, but if they really wanted to, they could still. And it has nothing to do with being with underage kids. Under certain circumstances, if they want to, they will.
If a tourist goes to Colombia and eat Colombian food, is it called? Is that person called a food tourist?
Yes, food tourism does exist. That's one of the reasons why I created my channel. My channel is not an anti-passport bro channel. Look at my channel. I talk about food. I go to different cities. I go to Manizales. I've been in La Zapata. I've been in La Buitrera. I've been in Tuluá. I've been in Cartago. I've been in Buenaventura. Okay? I have been in Barranquilla. I have been in Santa Marta. Okay? I haven't been in San Andres yet. All right? I've been in Risaralda de Caldas. I've been in Potrerillo. I'm mentioning the whole valley right now. I plan to go to Mocoa because I have a friend who's Inga Quichua. Inga Quichua. You know what Inga Quichua is? It's a tribe related to the Inca with a C. She's Inga with a G, okay? And no, the girl in the picture next to me is not my friend, so don't go and harass her, okay?
Person comes to Colombia to look at dancing or something. Are they called dance tourists?
Yes, dance tourism does exist. There are people who travel the world to learn different dances. They are dance tourists. If you see this video here, is from my paternal side of the family, Santiago de Cali, from the Cauca Valley. Okay, and the city of Cali is known to have the best dancers in all of Colombia, salsa dancers. Okay, and they are world dancers and people who travel all over the world. This person behind me, he's a teacher, and that club right there, it is full of gringos. It is full of foreigners. Okay, and including Black Americans. I have seen Black Americans take dance lessons in Cali. I had no problem with it. There's no issue with that. This is also known as salsa choque, proudly created by Black Afro-Colombians on my Pacific. There's different variations of salsa, you know that, right? My province or my department where I come from, Valle del Cauca, the Cauca Valley, parts of it go into the Pacific, okay? And those very same people from the Pacific coast have come into the city of Cali and added that flavor into our salsa. I have no problem with seeing dance tourists coming to Colombia. Here is a very good example of a tourism channel that are food tourists and dance tourists. It's called Eat, Baila, Travel. Eat, Baila means to dance, travel. And they do both of those things together.
No, they call tourists. So it just doesn't make sense.
Like the very famous Padre Luis Toro says, esa es tu opinión y se la respeta. That is your opinion and it is respected. However, I have shown you otherwise, okay? When you said, are there such a thing as food tourists? Yes, there is. Are there such a thing as sex tourists? Yes, there is. Are there such a thing as dance tourists? Yes, there is, okay? A tourist, yeah, you can label them as a tourist who come to do other things. But if you only come specifically for that, you're a sex tourist. And by the very definition.
I could even understand Colombia and Medellin cracking down on people who come over and talk to underage girls. 1000%. Get their ass up out your country.
I really, really appreciate it for you reaching out to me and for letting us know that you also do not agree with that. Okay? That's one good step that you're doing.
But now, to the women that's grown, and choosing to do what the fuck they want to do, I can't have no sympathy for that.
I'm going to be quite honest. I have no idea what you're talking about here.
You know what I'm saying? So
No, I don't know what you're saying. I'm not understanding.
I don't even understand. I really don't understand where all this backlash is coming from.
Baby. No.
This is why Colombians don't like gringos. Too many of y'all have this type of attitude. So I'm making a video about the history of Colombia and about the Civil War.
This is why Colombians don't like gringos. So he's replying to a comment basically saying, bro, we are there for the women and the women only. No one cares about the war. Which is fair. When you go over
With military terrorist groups like left-wing guerrilla forces or communists or right-wing paramilitary troops. So you mean to tell me that when a Colombian YouTuber is standing in Medellin, Colombia, in front of a mass grave of 500 to about 1,000 people talking about the Civil War, the longest civil war in the Western Hemisphere, which is in Colombia, which is still ongoing, which you have different military terrorist groups deemed by terrorist groups by the United Nations, and you have passport bros and foreign men who are telling us we don't care about your Civil War, we don't care about the people that had died, we don't care about all the torture and the child soldiers and everything else, and the raping and everything else. We only hear for the women, and you sitting here and you have the gall to tell me you do not understand why? That why we're pissed off and there's this still going on? Do you know the reason why passport bros and tourists and sex tourists and whatever, any type of man is able to go to Colombia? You want to know why? Because after 2016, we have what it calls the peace process with the largest guerrilla group, communist guerrilla group called the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, called the FARC. But you still have many other military groups out there, like the ELN, the National Liberation Army, and then you still have the EPN, and then you have the Maoist Liberation Movement, and those are the left-wing groups, and you have like 10 or 20 of them, and then you have the right-wing paramilitary groups that broke away from the military, who formed their personal militias, who are equal, just as powerful as the Colombian military, and who are at war with the guerrillas and with the government sometimes. Do you even know who controls Medellin? I bet you don't know. Did you know that there were a few kabooms going off in the last few months in Medellin by a certain left-wing guerrilla group? Did you know that there was a Minga that attacked a few weeks ago? A Minga that attacked the city hall of 3,000 indigenous people? Do you even know what a Minga is? Did you know that back in 2021, when you had the national strike and then the whole country stopped because people were riding in the streets, and then all of the militia groups were mixed in there? You had a Minga marching all the way from Cauca, not the Cauca Valley where I'm from Cauca, which is south of me. A Minga of 14,000 people marching their merry way to Medellin. And then when they went around Medellin, they were stopped by the Colombian military. Do you know what a Minga is? A Minga is when all the different indigenous groups come together for one particular purpose. And some of them are militia fighters. Some of them are armed to the teeth with Kalashnikovs and grenades because they have to fight off other militia groups, because they don't want anything to do with the Civil War. Imagine you waking up one day in Medellin and they see 14,000 pissed off indigenous people with Kalashnikovs and kabooms and bow and arrows. And they don't know what passport bros are yet. You better hope that one of you guys don't go mess with one of them. You do not know what the indigenous people can do. The indigenous people of South America are a whole different breed, homeboy. The ones from the mountains and the Sierra Mountains, the ones from the Andes Mountains, the Amazonian ones are the worst. They will fight to the last person. And you were sitting here and you're telling me that you don't know why we're pissed off? What about the other video I showed you in the beginning of those guys slapping the white Colombian woman? They go down to Cartagena, and Cartagena is where most black Colombians are at. But no, you guys want to magically gravitate towards the white Colombian, right? 4 older passport bros had contracted her to be with her. The 4 older passport bros agreed to a price with her. The 4 older passport bros chose not to pay her. And because she didn't want to leave, they slapped the phone out of her hand, which is assault. They had a physical altercation with them, and they had to drag her out, and they almost threw her down the stairs. The neighbors came out and were asking what's going on. They called the cops. The people were pissed off, and they wanted to be arrested. And you know what these guys did? They paid off the cops, and they left. And they couldn't pay $100 together. She was saying that it was 100. They were saying it was less than that. This poor little woman, the one who said that actively, by her own admission, she gave them services. All 4 men. And all 4 men couldn't come with $100 together. And since they ran off to the United States, people were ready to riot, and some of them did riot. If I remember correctly, I think La Bomba de Amparo, they set it on fire. So what did they have to do? They had to take away the visas. I mean, those people were not allowed to come back in Colombia anymore. The Colombian people are pissed off seeing you guys come to Colombia, treat us however you want because you're the new colonialists. Abuse us, pay the money, pay the cops off, and get away with all your crimes. And you want to say here while we're pissed off? You do not touch a woman. You do not touch a woman. You do not hit a woman, especially a Colombian or a Venezuelan. I have a video of another group of guys, younger guys, yelling at a whole bunch of women in Medellin. And the guy's telling him to get out, and he's yelling at them, screaming at the top of his lungs, so he's going to hit them. And you could tell the Venezuelan, they're telling him in Spanish, pégame, pégame, pégame. It's late right now, so I don't feel like going looking for it. Because she knows that once she hits her, he's done. You cannot hit a woman. You cannot assault her. Because he didn't want to pay. And you're sitting here and wondering why we're pissed off?
It just doesn't make no sense to me.
So when a U.S. citizen is having intercourse in a public balcony, when you have little kids walking around and seeing that, and you have nuns and everybody else walking around during maybe like a religious holiday, and people are pissed off about that, that doesn't make sense to you? So when two grown men held a woman down who was a cleaner of the house, and they ripped off her hair and they fought with her, you don't see that's wrong, and you don't understand why people are pissed off? So when an American man, a North American man, because all Colombians are American also, by the way. So when a North American man pushes a woman because she didn't pay him attention and she doesn't want to give him services, you don't think that's wrong? You're sitting here and you're telling me what you don't understand? So when you have foreign international passport bros, they delete the women and stuff them in suitcases, like these two cases, with the DJ and the other girl Lopera. Okay, you don't see nothing wrong with that? You don't understand why Colombians are pissed off? So when you guys get drunk and get on one of Botero's statues naked in Cartagena, you don't think that's wrong? You don't understand? When you guys were complaining about Holy Week last week and saying, hey, Parque Lleras is closed because the priests are going through the streets and they're doing processions and they're praying and they're having Palm Sunday, you don't think that's wrong? You don't understand why Colombians are pissed off? Because you guys cannot hold what's in your pants. You can't wait for the workers to come out after Holy Week is passed. When you go prancing around with your women half naked in front of little kids during Immaculate Conception Day on December 8th in Medellin, you don't think that's wrong? You don't understand why people are pissed off? When people are trying to make their prayers, the novenas, to Jesus Christ and to meditate on his life and death and resurrection, starting the light of the candles day after December 8th, and then you guys prance around with naked women, you don't think that's making people pissed off? When you're demeaning towards us, telling us that we have low IQ, when you're telling us that we have the worst food, when none of all of our food are paisa food, because not all of us are paisa. I'm not a paisa, and I can tell you once again, and as I said many, many times, that I can take any black Afro-Colombian woman from the Pacific Coast and she'll cook anybody in the United States. I do not care. I had your food. Telling us that we're backwards, that our food is terrible, that our music is bad. Being disrespectful to the local elders. Dismissive of the children. Dismissive of religious holidays. Hitting Colombian and Venezuelan women, throwing money in our face, which is considered something hugely disrespectful. Throwing money from balconies so people can go and get it, which is considered disrespectful. Calling us third world idiots, like some people have told me, right? Threatening that you're going to send your ice cubes and your Donald Trump towards us. Telling us that you're going to send your ice cubes and your Orange King towards us to flatten us and take all our resources. And you want to sit here and wonder where's all this coming from? If you really have watched my channel, I have documented almost every single one of the things that I have said. Harassing our cops because there are women. Just a few months ago, I saw a particular passport bro. He went to Cartagena, and you know what he did? He wasn't alive. And he's walking around during Christmas time. And you know what? He walks up to this family, all right? They're out there with their kids, two women with their kids and the grandfather. And he said there, damn, damn. Because they have big butts. And they look at it, they look up, you could see the fear in the child's face. You could see the grandfather pissed off. You could see the two women that had a horrified face. And you want to sit here and you wonder why we're pissed off?
Now, let's get something straight. When it comes to Colombian women, right? Colombian women are all over. Venezuelan women, Colombian women, they're all over. They're even in the Dominican Republic selling pussy.
The last time that I checked, you have about 1 to 2 million prostitutes in the United States, all right, and is legal in some parts of the United States. That is literally more than the city of Cartagena. That is literally more than the city of Barranquilla. That is literally more than the city of Armenia. That is literally more than the city of Palmira. That is literally more than the city of Mocoa. That is literally more than the city of Tumaco. All right. Let me tell you something that you don't understand because I did the research. The most conservative estimates of how many Colombian women within Colombian borders. Okay, you have about 7,000 of them who are adult services workers, and the most liberal number is about 250,000. Now take that out of 50 million people. I want to let you know that I went and rechecked, and it turns out that they're not giving an exact number of how many of those women are Colombian because a huge number of them are Venezuelan. So the number is going to be much lower than that. 59 million people, I think, between 50 and 59 million people. All right, you have way more than some entire cities of Colombia, and you have to even combine some cities to even equal up to that. This is Figueroa Street behind me. Okay, that is in LA. You can go to Nevada. Okay, don't give me that. Why don't you guys go to Nevada if it's legal over there? Why don't you go harass them over there? Why do you have to come to us? Because it is a power play. Your dollar is much more powerful in Colombia. I can guarantee you that if the Colombian women had the same economic power as you have, they will not be paying you any attention at all. Because I hear what they say for the ones who have dealt with gringos, both working and unworking, okay?
You know what I'm saying? But I don't know if you know this, Ray, but in the United States, there are Colombian, Venezuelan women selling in the United States.
Nice deflection you got there. Let's look at the stats. Okay, once again, let's go back to your stats, all right? It shows here when you Google search that there's between 1 to 2 million prostitutes in the United States, all right? It doesn't say what percentage of them are Colombian or not, but I can get down into that in a second, all right? And this was before the mass migration of Venezuelans, since you like to talk about Venezuelans. So certain estimates state that there's about between 1.2 to 1.7 million Colombians in the United States. And yet you still have more prostitutes at the most liberal side than the entire population of Colombians in the United States. If you look at Pew Research Center of 2013, it states that Colombians had higher educations than most Latinos, than all Latinos actually, and actually had higher levels of education overall than even slightly more than the entire United States. Once again, looking at Pew Research Center of 2013, it says about, I think, 14 to 17% of Colombians in the United States were in poverty levels. So that percentage of 1.2 million, let's say maybe 5% of them were prostitutes, right? I don't even think that much. Let's go to 3%. It doesn't even put a mark. So I'm not sure where you're going with that.
This is something that women are doing all over.
I don't understand what does that have to do with passport bros going to Colombia, acting up a fool, being disrespectful to local Colombian society, disrespectful to our local cultures, disrespectful to kids, disrespectful to older people, disrespectful to clergy. I mean, I don't understand. But let me show you something. You see this here? These are 6 Colombian women who work in NASA, all right? When we come here, we actually do something. We're very productive. And some of these women here are actually flight directors in NASA. So have you seen these passport bros go to Colombia and get these high-ranking positions through education? I don't know. I haven't seen that, right? The best thing they can do is just pick up a street worker, right?
Oh, these Americans coming here, they got money. They could afford these hoes or whatever. That's what it sounds. It sounds like jealousy.
Jealous of what? You don't have anything that you can't take from me. And you don't have anything that I don't have. And the funny thing is that Colombian men can get Colombian women without paying for it. And these guys who are actually paying for it, because that's not something to be proud of, paying for sex is not a flex, okay? Like my brother always says, simping ain't pimping. And those women, they usually have their real boyfriends in Colombia, and they use the passport bro money to take care of the men there. But most Colombian men, we don't need that. I can get myself a girlfriend without having to pay for her for her companionship, and that's really sad.
Spain, Italy, France, Portugal. Women are doing Germany, Amsterdam. They doing this shit all over Africa.
I really need to apologize to my viewers for subjecting you to this. Erratic, disrespectful, ignorant nonsense. Like this person was like born in the Stone Age. I'm not sure if he's trying to troll me To be honest, he sounds like this guy called Carlos Red, who has been harassing me and sending his henchmen towards me. He goes rambles on like this for a few more minutes. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go to the end, and that's it. I think you guys can make up your mind right now where he is going with this. Absolute, total nonsense and insanity. These people do not get it, and they do not understand how Colombian people feel. And I'm sitting here trying to watch out for them, to protect them, because Colombia is a very violent place. All it's going to take is one time when one of them does something really stupid, and all of a sudden they're going to be targets. And I don't want that to happen to them, right? And not only that, but actual tourists are actually going to be targeted. Colombia has real tourists. I have met Chinese, I have met Arabs, I have met Canadians, I have met French people, I've met people from the United States, from LA, from Missouri, from everywhere else. Good tourists, not people like him. Listen to what he's talking about. Like at this point, he's just wasting my time, and he's wasting your time. Passport buffet.